Hello and welcome to the NHL Best Bets. Yesterday there were a lot of good and interesting games. We selected two of those in our yesterday's video, and here are the results of our picks. Colorado continued their trip in Vegas. This matchup was as tight as the previous one when Vegas won 1-0. Now Colorado took the game 3-2 by scoring the winner in last minute of the third period. And then Washington-Pittsburgh, we predicted it will go over. There were quite a few shots, I think 70 shots together with these two teams, but quality wasn't there. Goalies played reasonably well. Washington won 3-1 and game was under. How do you saw, Tommy, these two games last night?
Yeah, first of all, in Pittsburgh, the game was pretty much as we predicted. Washington Capitals did bounce back from their last effort that was not very good against the Penguins. Now it was Washington that used their chances early on and went ahead 1-3 to win the game 1-3 in the end. Penguins did have their chances early on. There were a couple of posts they could have hit in the net and given a chance to our over here, but this time they couldn't score. But like you said, there was almost 70 shots, I think 69 to be precise, 27 for Penguins and 42 for Washington Capitals. So usually if these two teams are shooting this much, they would score more goals, but this time it was 1-3. And if the last time around when Penguins won 6-3, Penguins were playing probably the best game of their season, now it was completely the opposite. So they were lacking in a lot of departments, and Capitals showed that they're not pushovers and you can't count them out at any point. So a good game from Capitals to bounce back from the loss. And in Vegas, the game was exactly as we predicted. It was under, quite close, 2-3 in the end for Colorado Avalanche, who lost 1-0 the previous one. So a perfect bounce back from that team as well, and a close affair. These two teams are gonna be fighting until the bitter end in the playoffs as well in that division for sure. So very interesting matchup. Marc-Andre Fleury for Vegas again, very good game from him. 29 shots faced, 26 saved. So good performance from Fleury in his I think fourth start in a row, and something that he hasn't done in a while, but has been playing really well. But still a good win for Avalanche and great win for us. So we made a profit of 0 this time.
Yeah, it's always good when you are not losing money, but it would be even nicer if you are winning something from your bets. It would be a great game on Saturday when these two teams are playing outdoor. So in Lake Tahoe, matchup between these heavyweights in outdoor ring. There were a few other games that we discussed yesterday. Few teams came from the long break. New Jersey was ready to rock and roll. They won New York Rangers 5-2. Minnesota was also having a long break, but they were still on break when started to play in Staples Center against Kings. Kings won 4-0. And then New York Islanders continued their good performance against Buffalo. I think we had their good value for the visiting team. Islanders won 3-0.
Yeah, good game from Islanders again against Buffalo. Buffalo had 1 goal disallowed, but didn't get much more than that from the Islanders. So like we were speculating yesterday, that the longer Islanders get to play the same opponent, the better it is for the Islanders team, because they get under your skin and they get to know your system, and it's really hard to break down this New York Islanders team. So a good win for them. And yeah, the game in Los Angeles, Minnesota Wild, quite a shocking performance after a long pause. So not much to tell there. Not a single goal scored, and quite an awful performance. But it can be explained by the long break. But on the other hand, then when you take a look at the New Jersey Devils, they were facing their local rivals, New York Rangers, and outperformed them completely. So another disappointing game for the Rangers, who we've been trying to push higher all the time, but they haven't really performed up to the expectations. So interesting to see if there will be some changes in Rangers team. They are definitely not expected to be at the bottom of the division in this point. So very disappointing so far.
Yeah, some of the injuries naturally take place in New York Rangers squad, but they should have a depth to play much better than what they have been doing recently. And New Jersey has maybe taken the step that we expected the Rangers to take, and they have been clearly better team out of these two rebuilding teams in New York, New Jersey area. Then we have a few games also tonight, and our selections can be shown here. Florida goes to Carolina. This is basically the top matchup of the Central Division. Currently, Tampa Bay is leading there, but Florida and Carolina have played one game less than Tampa and are only 1 point behind. So winner will take the lead here of the division. And Florida has played well. They beat Tampa on the road in last game. Carolina has also played well, but good value with Florida 140 odds is our pick here. And then another game, Winnipeg plays their second game in Edmonton against Oilers. Previous one was quite free-flowing Hawaii hockey. Edmonton lost that one 6-5, but now we expected them to bounce back. Odds minus 133 provide good value for a home team in Alberta.
Yeah, first of all, the game Carolina-Florida, probably a bit surprising that both of these teams are the top teams of that league, that division with Tampa Bay. Like you said, Florida beat Tampa twice in their 3-game battle in both in Sunrise and in Tampa Bay. So Florida has been playing surprisingly well. Of course, their offensive unit is very strong. We knew that Alexander Barkov, Jonathan Huberdeau, a couple of other guys that also have taken the step up, which was maybe not expected. Also, interestingly, the second goalkeeper, Chris Drieger, has been the better one from the duo of Sergei Bobrovsky and him. So a bit surprising that as well. He is starting tonight, at least according to the early report. So a good thing for Florida there. They get their a little bit more consistent goaltender in the net. And of course, Carolina has played really well. Had a little bit of problems with COVID protocol early on, some games postponed. So a little bit of a mixed sort of start to the season. But they've been pretty good. Played very even games though against Dallas. They went overtime 3-4. Then of course beat Columbus last time around a couple of nights ago. Was it actually 2 nights ago? 7-3. So that was like an explosive effort from Carolina. But I think against Florida it will be a lot tougher matchup. And with the great odds of plus 140 in this sort of very 50-50 game, I think the Panthers are a clear pick for us. And the other game then, Edmonton, one of our favorites in all the simulations. Last time we did have value for Winnipeg when they beat Edmonton, so it was a good game for us in that regard. A lot of scoring, like we were saying, that Edmonton's goaltending duo maybe not the best in the league. Winnipeg does have Connor Hellebuyck, who is one of the better ones. So quite a close matchup expected here as well. We do have Edmonton more than 60% favorites at home against this Winnipeg team. So again, last time around, Edmonton played Leon Draisaitl, not a single point. A bit disappointing effort from all the players. So now let's see how they bounce back at home, and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl will cause a lot of problems for Winnipeg Jets defense.
Yeah, I think these are solid picks. How about other games? There are a few big home favorites. Toronto plays against Ottawa, then Calgary gets Vancouver to Saddledome. Even though they are not the greatest home team, they have also quite big favorite based on the odds and also our simulations. Are those worth the bet from your point of view?
Yeah, for sure. Toronto and Calgary heavy favorites, both of them at home. Calgary against struggling Vancouver, about 63% favorites compared to the odds, which is around 58%. So good value for Calgary, but the odds are not that attractive at the moment. And of course, these underdogs do have their chance to surprise like they have previously, like we saw in Toronto with Ottawa coming back against Toronto to win the game after the regulation last time around. So let's see how Toronto will counter this sort of let's say lackluster performance that they had last time around, giving away the Surefire 2 points. So Toronto almost 80% favorites now according to the simulations, but the odds of minus 286 are so low that not really attractive for us. But there is value if you prefer these heavy home favorites. Toronto and Calgary are both your selections.
Yeah, I agree that it doesn't make sense to bet these kind of very low odds, especially when the value is also quite marginal there. But then there's last game. Chicago continues to match up against Detroit. There is again a good value for a road favorite, Chicago. Our boy Kevin Lankinen should start as a goalie, but do you think it would be better bet here to bet Chicago to win, or that game will go under 5.5 goals, because Chicago has been able to defend pretty sturdy, except one game against Columbus a week ago when they let 6 goals to the net. But otherwise, they have got only, I think, 2-2-1-1 from the last 5 games as allowed goals. And Detroit is maybe not the most explosive offense in the league. So which bet you would like to take, or both?
Yeah, the simulations show both, of course. Of course, then we would take both. But in this case, Chicago's odds are around minus 130. So there is value for a couple of percent. We have about 60% for Chicago, and the odds are around 55. So there is value for Chicago as a home road team here. But there is more value for the under, because like last time we saw, these two teams played really well defensively. Malcolm Subban was in goal for Chicago, but now Kevin Lankinen, maybe a little bit better goaltender, at least looking through the glasses from Finland. So I think the under would be a little bit better pick here. It's 5.5 goals, so very low line compared to some other games, but still I'd say under, and the simulations say about 70% under 5.5. So I'd say 2 goals per team maximum.
So when you trust Kevin Lankinen as a goalie, you should have a parlay of these 2 bets to Chicago win on the road and then under 5.5 goals.
Yeah, that looks good. And of course, your finger on a trigger if you have a cash out opportunity in the end of the game.
Yeah, that's good to keep in mind that Chicago is one of the teams that have played quite a few overtimes and shootouts. So if you are not trusting that they can finish against stronger teams, that Detroit is not, it would be good to cash out or place the bet, draw no bet type of market.
Yeah, Chicago is 4-4 in their overtime games, so won 4, lost 4 out of 8. So about 50% chance for them to end up in the overtime, and then about 50% chance for them to win. So let's see how the odds turn out.
We'll do that, and tomorrow we continue with our next video. There are more games to cover, and first we check how these 2 great bets went.
Have a good night.